Hi, welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. Want to do something a little different this time? We're going to have a brief chat with brothers Caleb and Nathan Harms, who are the creators of several children's and young adult novels. So let's go meet our guests. Okay, hi.
Hello.
Introduce yourselves, please.
All right, I am Nathan Harms. I am the author of various children's books, young adult novels, and novellas. And
I am Caleb Harms, his brother, the artist behind most of those said books.
Oh, good. Thank you for joining me here.
we're happy to
Now,
be here.
how long have you guys been doing this?
Roughly about 5.5 years is what we're coming up on.
Yep.
Okay, and you are self-published, are you not?
Correct.
Okay. In just a couple of sentences, how do you do that?
You wear a lot of different hats and you do the best you can at all of them. So for us, it's about a learning process where we have the story, we put it together, we go online and we put the book together, get it in our hands, we go out to conventions, we get it in other people's hands, we sell it online, we promote ourselves. It's a lot of different hats, and only two heads to wear such hats.
Okay.
So we share the workload.
Yeah. And Caleb, what is your artistic background?
So I am mostly self-taught. I did go to a very small art teaching group called the DEAD Academy, the Denver Entertainment and Art District, and I learned from a professional there, Zach Hennessy. And beyond that, I have just drawn since I was a little kid, got into comics mostly, and figured that that's probably what I wanted to do. Did a lot of freelance projects, loved designing fun, creative characters, and then eventually my brother came to me with an idea of doing a children's book, and not something that I really would have thought to do on my own, but something that I very quickly realized that I really enjoyed and had a lot of fun with and wanted to do more of.
Yeah, he's gotten slightly better at drawing.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Practice makes perfect.
That's right.
And in the process, you've learned how to design books.
Correct.
Because as we were talking about earlier, even though Nathan has produced some that don't have any of your artwork in them, you wound up designing the covers and just basically designing the book to feature his own artwork.
Correct. Yeah, it's been a process of just figuring out every little step of the way to how do you do this? How do you format a book? What size do you do? Where do you get it published and printed? It's just a lot of little puzzles and a lot of little adventures of learning and just kind of finding our way to a finish line.
Okay. So this method of self-publishing that you do, it doesn't take a lot of upfront cash as traditional self-publishing would, does it?
Correct.
Correct. In fact, for myself as the writer, it requires almost no. I have a laptop. I would probably have a laptop either way, and I have Microsoft Word on that laptop, which I would also probably have either way. So there's my tool, and that's all the money it requires. And for Caleb, if you're an artist, you're always going to have supplies or a drawing pad or whatever. But that would be for any format. And then once you get beyond that, really it's all about what's your time worth. So for us, we spend a lot of time, so we don't have to spend a lot of money.
That's good. So, of course, your stuff is intended for smaller children and young adults. Can you hold up Zed and Zia, a double page spread?
Oh, absolutely. I know exactly the one you're referring to. This one here?
Yeah, that's fine. Has relatively little text there, but
And throughout the book, most of the pages look something more like this.
like this, yeah, something nice for more skilled readers, but still a chapter book. It's a novel,
Correct.
but beautifully and lavishly illustrated. So doing these the way you do these books in this format of publishing would work well. I have to say this because my channel is comic book oriented. Would work well for self-publishing comics or full-length graphic novels.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And you haven't done that so far, have you?
Not so much. This is the closest that we've gotten, sort of a comic book novel hybrid, but a full-length comic book. Maybe something that we do in the future. We'll have to wait and see.
I would like to see something like that.
I would love to work
Us
on
too.
that.
Yeah, see you're wearing Iron Man. Fully, yeah. Always,
Very big
always
comic book fan
book
myself,
fans.
of course.
Oh, of course, and that comes out in the artwork that you publish in your books. How many books have you produced so far?
So we've done 8 children's books, 3 sci-fi graphic novel hybrids, and then 4 novellas.
Thank you. That's very nice.
A lot of books.
A lot. Yeah, it is a lot of books. What is your favorite?
That's a hard
You go
one.
first.
I mean, I love our Zed and Zia series, especially as the books go on. I love usually the newest one because my artwork improves, his writing improves, and the story just gets more and more epic. So it is so much fun to see that project evolve
Okay.
as it goes.
Is this particular one your most recent?
This is actually the very first one in the series.
In the
which is
series.
also still very near and dear to my heart.
So what is your most recent release?
The most recent one is called The Peacekeeper. It is the 3rd book in the Zed and Zia franchise of sort of a 6-book plan.
You always have to have long plans.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah,
Gotta build
long
a
plans.
universe.
And I would say for me, actually, ironically, it's going to be this book right here, Good Bird. So it's written about my son, based on watching him play in the backyard and trying to put myself into his own imagination. And this book I wrote in a couple of months. It was a very quick process, very organic. I was coming off writing the book before this, which was a little bit more of a darker subject matter. And when you're writing in a darker subject matter, you kind of put your mind into that format. And so to come out of this kind of like darker place and then write something very whimsical, it was very much like a release for me as a writer. So I had a really great experience writing this. So it's near and dear to me and definitely at the top of my list.
Okay. And how have you conceived these all of your works? I mean, in general.
You know, a lot, they come from very, very different places.
The very first one that we did actually came from a dare that the two of us made to each other. Like I said, we hadn't really ever thought of doing children's books ourselves. Nathan's background is in music, mostly, as a song and lyrics writer. And then, like I said, I was kind of looking to do comics, mostly. So one day we were sitting down and talking about what we wanted to do the following year. And we got into talking about doing a project that was a little bit different. And somehow we came to, like, could we do a children's book? He had recently become a father, so that kind of led into that. And I kind of said to him, yeah, sure, you could really write a book. And then he came back to me and said, oh yeah, well, I'm sure you could, draw a character. Or maybe we could do, a monster that eats colors. And then he actually started writing it, and I actually started drawing the character, and very quickly we realized, hey, this isn't half bad. We actually enjoy this. He's actually good at this. I'm good at drawing the characters. And that became our very first book, was The Colorless Monster. And that just started the whole thing, and we kept going.
It kind of steamrolled from there, and then you just get ideas from typical things. Sammy the hamster. He had a hamster named Sammy growing up that got out a lot. Friend of the Wind was something I wrote kind of as more of a poem or a song lyric. And
Oh,
ended up
that
turning
one, that
into-
particular one is very lovely, and I really do like the art
Oh,
in
yeah.
that. It is very whimsical and ethereal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful book.
And you just kind of go from there. My Dad the Dork is a love letter to dorky dads.
Hold that up for me, would you
Yeah,
please?
Absolutely. It's
I asked that because the cover design is based on Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man.
correct. Oh yeah, lots of Easter eggs throughout this one for comic lovers and just lovers of pop culture in general.
And of course, Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
see that in the uniforms.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we love doing
Costumes.
that throughout all of our books, putting in Easter eggs, references, not just to pop culture, but any sort of little thing that adults can also appreciate.
Absolutely. Or even things that maybe only we get when we read it. I'll a lot of times in some of my novellas or even some of the Zed and Zia stuff, I'll put in little lines that maybe only Caleb will get. And he'll, text me later while he's working. He's like, "Hey, that line, was that a reference to, Uncle so-and-so?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's hilarious." Just little things like that that you put on the page.
Okay. Of course. So, since my channel is comic book oriented, and and in that department, I'm focused primarily on the artwork. Who are some of your biggest artistic influences?
One of them would be the creator of Invader Zim, Jonan Vesquez, I believe. Probably butchering his name.
Johan
Johan?
Vasquez.
Well, anyways,
Jonan Vasquez.
I can't say his name, but I adore his artwork. I love like Invader Zim growing up, and that's sort of like very cartoony, but with sort of an edge to it. He was a big one. Other than that, franchises that I follow would be Marvel, especially the Marvel movies. And like Sonic the Hedgehog was a video game that I loved growing up and kind of got me into comics and all other types of mediums. Yeah.
I always kind of felt when Caleb got into drawing, it wasn't so much about specific artists that would inspire him. It was like specific characters. I remember introducing him to Sonic the Hedgehog when he was a wee little lad, and he came over to my house. I had all the Sonic games on Xbox in like one disc set, and he sat there. I showed it to him, on a Friday night at 6 o'clock because we were watching him because we're 10 years apart. So he was younger. He's like 11 years old. Come over to my house.
So
My
he was
parents would go
babysitting me,
downtown.
basically.
Yeah, and I remember giving them the controller and me going to bed and me waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and him still sitting there playing Sonic the Hedgehog. And just I love this character. And so seeing his love of character and character design is really what I feel has inspired a lot of his direction.
Now that you mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog, I do see a lot of Sonic influence
Oh, yeah.
in your artwork.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's all coming together.
I'll admit
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well. How can my viewers get your books?
Okay, so actually, so we call our company Harms Publications. If you go to harmspublications.com, with the www before it, you can find a link to our page there, and if you click on books, it'll list all of our books on there. And when you click on the book, it'll take you right to Amazon. You can order our books directly from there. Also, if you want to check us out on Facebook, you can search Harms Publications or Instagram. And we are, if you're located here in Colorado, we do a lot of local conventions. So you can come out, buy the books directly from us. We'll sign them. We'll talk to you. We love to talk with people and meet them.
Absolutely.
That is great. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I want to thank all the people watching for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. And remember, comics are art.